The War of 1812, often overshadowed in American history, is sometimes referred to as the Second War of Independence. This conflict, lasting from 1812 to 1815, pitted the young United States against the mighty British Empire once again. This time the issue was not outright independence, but rather the recognition of American sovereignty and autonomy on the world stage. The war was a test of America's resolve, a struggle to prove that the fledgling nation was truly free from the shackles of its former colonial master. The War of 1812 was a defining moment in the early history of the United States. The outcome of the war solidified America's independence and helped to shape its national identity. The war had its roots in the Napoleonic Wars raging in Europe. Great Britain, locked in a bitter struggle with France, implemented maritime policies that directly impacted American trade and neutrality. The British practice of impressment, the forced enlistment of American sailors into the Royal Navy, was a particularly contentious issue. The United States faced a difficult choice: submit to British demands or fight to defend its sovereignty. The Atlantic Ocean became a battleground where American merchant ships and warships clashed with the mighty Royal Navy. British warships blockaded American ports, disrupting trade and threatening the young nation's economy. The American Navy, though smaller in size, proved its mettle in several engagements. The USS Constitution, a powerful frigate nicknamed Old Ironsides, became a symbol of American naval prowess. In a famous encounter, the Constitution defeated the British frigate HMS Guerriere, demonstrating the skill and determination of American sailors. Despite these victories, the British blockade took its toll on the American economy. Coastal cities faced shortages of goods, and prices soared. The war at sea was not limited to the Atlantic. On the Great Lakes, a fierce naval campaign unfolded. Within the United States, a group of young congressmen known as the War Hawks emerged as vocal proponents for war with Great Britain. Led by figures like Henry Clay of Kentucky and John C. Calhoun of South Carolina, the War Hawks argued that war was necessary to defend American honor and secure its economic future. They argued that the United States could no longer tolerate British insults and interference. They saw war as an opportunity to assert American power and expand its territory westward. The War Hawks' calls for war resonated with many Americans, particularly in the South and West. However, opposition to the war remained strong in New England, where merchants feared the economic consequences of a conflict with Great Britain. Despite the opposition, President James Madison, facing mounting pressure from the War Hawks, ultimately asked Congress for a declaration of war against Great Britain. On June 18, 1812, the United States Congress declared war on Great Britain. This marked the beginning of a conflict that would test the nation's resolve and shape its destiny. The War of 1812 was fought on multiple fronts, from the Atlantic Ocean to the Great Lakes, and from the Canadian border to the Gulf of Mexico. One of the most significant battles of the war took place in September 1813 on Lake Erie. American forces led by Commodore Oliver Hazard Perry engaged a British squadron in a fierce naval battle. Perry's decisive victory secured American control of Lake Erie and paved the way for future American victories in the region. Another pivotal battle occurred in August 1814, when British forces captured Washington, D.C., and set fire to many government buildings, including the White House and the Capitol. The burning of Washington was a symbolic victory for the British, but it only served to strengthen American resolve. In September 1814, American forces under General Andrew Jackson achieved a stunning victory over a much larger British force at the Battle of New Orleans. The battle made Jackson a national hero and solidified American control of the Mississippi River. The War of 1812 was characterized by fierce fighting, both on land and at sea. Section 5. Key figures in the fray. The War of 1812 witnessed the rise of several key figures who would go on to play significant roles in American history. On the American side, James Madison, the fourth President of the United States, led the nation through the tumultuous years of the war. General William Henry Harrison gained fame for his victory over British and Native American forces at the Battle of the Thames in 1813. Andrew Jackson, a fiery general from Tennessee, emerged as a national hero for his decisive victory over the British at the Battle of New Orleans. Jackson's military exploits during the war propelled him to national prominence and paved the way for his eventual presidency. On the British side, Sir Isaac Brock distinguished himself in the early stages of the war by capturing Fort Detroit from the Americans. However, Brock was killed in action at the Battle of Queenston Heights in 1812. Section 6, a treaty and its implications. After more than 2 years of bitter conflict, both the United States and Great Britain were ready to negotiate an end to the war. The Treaty of Ghent, signed on December 24, 1814 in Ghent, Belgium, officially ended the War of 1812. The treaty essentially restored pre-war boundaries and did not address the issues of impressment or neutral trading rights. Despite the lack of clear-cut victories or concessions, the Treaty of Ghent had significant implications for the United States. The war demonstrated that the United States was capable of defending itself against one of the world's most powerful nations. It also fostered a sense of national unity and pride among Americans. With the end of the war, the two nations embarked on a path of peaceful coexistence and cooperation. The war also had a profound impact on the relationship between the United States and Native American tribes. Section 7, Shaping American Identity. The War of 1812 played a crucial role in shaping American identity and nationalism. The war, despite its inconclusive outcome, fostered a sense of national unity and purpose. Americans, having faced a common enemy and endured hardship together, emerged from the conflict with a stronger sense of national identity. The war also gave rise to a new wave of patriotism and national pride. American victories such as the Battle of New Orleans were celebrated as triumphs of the young republic against a formidable foe. The war inspired American artists, writers, and musicians who captured the spirit of the age in their works. The war led to the demise of the Federalist Party, which had opposed the war and was seen as unpatriotic by many Americans. The War of 1812, though often overshadowed by other conflicts, played a pivotal role in shaping the nation's identity and destiny. Section 8, a forgotten conflict. Despite its significance, the War of 1812 is often referred to as the forgotten war in American history. First, the war lacked a clear-cut victor or a decisive turning point that captured the public imagination. The Treaty of Ghent essentially restored pre-war boundaries, leaving many Americans wondering what the war had actually achieved. Second, the War of 1812 was sandwiched between two much larger and more consequential conflicts: the American Revolutionary War and the American Civil War. The Revolutionary War secured American independence, while the Civil War determined the fate of slavery and the future of the Union. In comparison, the War of 1812, with its seemingly inconclusive outcome, paled in significance. Despite its relative obscurity, the War of 1812 deserves to be remembered as a pivotal chapter in American history. It was a war that tested the young republic's resolve and set the stage for America's emergence as a major power on the world stage. Section 9, Conclusion, the Enduring Legacy. The War of 1812, though often overlooked, left an enduring legacy on the United States. It solidified American independence, fostered a sense of national unity, and paved the way for America's westward expansion. The war also had a profound impact on American foreign policy, marking a turning point in Anglo-American relations. The war's legacy can be seen in the many monuments and memorials dedicated to the conflict, from the iconic USS Constitution in Boston Harbor to the Battle of New Orleans battlefield. The war also continues to inspire artists, writers, and filmmakers who find in its story of courage, sacrifice, and national identity a timeless source of inspiration. The War of 1812 may be the forgotten war, but its impact on the United States is undeniable. It was a war that tested the young republic's mettle and set the stage for its emergence as a global power.